Hi and welcome. My name's Laura Mackey. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from the UK. I am so excited to be joining the Global Creative Project tutorial bundle. I'm going to share with you today how I created my card, which is this one. This month we are using the Christmas season stamp set with the coordinating dies, and then I've used the Christmas to Remember for just for this Christmas greeting here, where you can see I've heat embossed that there, and then I've also incorporated the 3D snowflake embossing folder as well. So let me show you how I made my card. I'm going to start off by embossing the background, because I've actually flicked it here with a little bit of the Whisper White re-inker. So we need to emboss that and flick that, so then you can then set that aside to dry while we die cut and well, stamp and die cut the other not embellishments at all. You have to excuse me, I've got a cold and I think it's gone to my head. So we're going to stamp and die cut those while this is drying. So let me grab the bits and pieces. So all the measurements you need for my card are in the PDF. So we've got a card base here, which is a 10 by 5 inch card base, which you score in half at 5 inches, which let's give that a score. I might grab my bone folder. I'm hoping I've got everything to hand, but who knows, I might have to grab some bits. So that's our 5 by 5 card base. I've also got two, so I have used shimmery white here, just because I love the little bit of sparkle that it has. It's quite subtle, quite understated, but I like that. So we're going to have one of those on the inside, and this other one is going to matte and layer for the front. This is the front panel that we're going to emboss. You're going to need an off-cut of shimmery white for the Merry across the front, and then you also need an off-cut of Berry Bliss, which I cut this longer than I needed. It's 2.5 centimeters deep this way, which 2.5 centimeters or 1 inch, too long, so I could nice and neatly when I die cut my letters, I can place them on, and then when I come to put it on the card front, I can then actually move it and to center it up, and then I can trim off the excess. So that's everything you need. So we can put some of these pieces to one side for now. We want just the Blackberry Bliss layer to emboss. Need to grab the embossing folder. And I'm going to use my trusty machine here, which we need to lose these 3 pieces, and we need this piece here, which we are then going to, because it's the 3D one, so we're going to place that inside, and we're going to do half, and then we're going to do the other half. So I'm going to place that in there. The camera may jiggle a little bit while I run that through, hopefully not too bad. So that's one side embossed, and then we're going to flick it round and we're going to emboss the other half. So you can see there we are going to create a line across the middle, but that's where our greeting comes into play, because it's actually going to cover that line there. So there we go. So that's the embossed layer. Just move my machine back out of the way. Then we're going to give this, I don't know if you can see on here, it's quite subtle, but there are just some little flicks of white on the background there. And to create that, I use a clear block. And I literally just put a blob here. I'll add a little bit more. So a little blob here. And then I've got some water in my water painter, because you want this to be quite runny. If it's too thick, it won't actually flick very well. So give it add plenty of water, and then I'm going to just flick against the back there. So just flicking against the lid to flick all over there. And you can add as much flick of this as you want. If you don't like the idea of doing this, you don't need to. I just liked it. I thought it added a nice little extra detail on the back there. So that is what it looks like. So flicked all on the back there, and you want to now set this to one side to dry. So I'm going to pop that well out of the way. Do protect your area where you're stamping. I'm going to use, I've used a grid sheet. I'm now going to remove that out of the way just to get rid of anything. Sometimes you do get a little bit of overspray, if you like, from the flick in there. So is what we're going to do next is we're going to stamp our foliage and our holly and our berries. I'm going to show you what you need. So this, I've mounted all my stamps up, so they are all ready to go, and they are just beside me here. Don't forget, you can pause me at any time if I'm going a little bit quick, or you want to do your bits. You can pause me and then replay me, or you can fast forward me. So this big leaf here, we're going to stamp 2 in soft succulent. Don't stamp them too close together, because obviously you want to leave yourself a little bit of room to die cut those. Just move those bits out of the way. We're going to use Evening Evergreen next. Everything, all the products I've used, ink, colours and everything are all again in that PDF. We're going to do 2 of this larger, longer leaf in Evening Evergreen. So that. And then we're also going to stamp the stem for the holly, and you need 4 of those. 3, 4. We are going to stamp 2 of the holly in Mossy Meadow. Stamp them up there. I'm being quite ruthless here with my sheet of basic white cardstock. You may be a little bit more frugal than what I'm being. I really want you to see exactly, doing it like this in colours, then you won't miss anything out. I'm then using Old Olive for the fern and then this other leaf here. So we're going to stamp 4 of the fernies in Old Olive. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 of this other leaf here. 1, 2. Okay, so that's all your foliage. Just now need to add in the berries, and obviously I went with Blackberry Bliss berries because I wanted it to match my card base and my layers. So I'm just going to add in now the berries. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that might be a little bit close there. So like I said, give yourself plenty of room there. So that is all our foliage and our berries. Try and keep my area clear. So I don't know if you want to pause me now, and you can die cut all your elements so you're then ready to start assembling the card. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so you should now have, I'm ready to go. I've got all my bits here die cut, ready to go. We're now going to die cut our Mary. And for your die cut and your Mary, you want this off-cut piece of shimmery white. And it's what you also need is some of the foam adhesive sheets. Now your merry letters, you're going to lay those out because you want to be, I will be a little bit more frugal with this. So we cut a piece roughly the right size, so there. And then is what I do, so I cut the right size piece. Let me grab my big scissors. So we want something like that. And then we're gonna peel one side off and adhere it to the shimmery white cardstock and trim the excess away. And then you're gonna grab your die cutting machine once again. You need to change the, doesn't matter if these are not in order at this point. So there we go. So keeping it, so we're not wasting any of our foam adhesive sheets. Get me thinking frugal when I was just quite crazy a minute ago with my, just sit these to one side while I bring my die cutting machine back in. So this time we're using the base plate with, just find my other pieces. So this time with the sheet 2 on top, then I want one of my clear plates and I'm going to bring this in, carefully sit it there. If you've not experimented with this foam adhesive sheet, when I got this, I thought, well, this is never going to cut through this, but it really does. I only ever run it through once. It's quite nice that I can now just flick it up and I can see, oh yeah, it's nicely cut. So yeah, you can see there, it's nicely cut. So let's put that there and move this out of the way. I'm going to pop, before I lose, because these are dinky little pieces, see, they just pop right out. I'm just going to pop them back in here so I don't lose any. I've kind of lost the order that they're in, that's for sure. So that's that die cut. So that's using the Playful Alphabet dies. Right, so what we now need to do is you need to grab your strip here for your greeting. And you want to carefully pop out these letters, keeping the backing on. So just carefully pulling them out here. There. There we go. And we're going to just carefully, using my take your pick tool, I just poke those bits out of the middles there as well. Get that little one out of there. I'm going to push that the other way, I think. Is that going to come out? Oh no, I've lost the backing. This is what you don't want to happen. You want to keep that backing in place. Now, as I've lost that backing, I'm going to get that stuck down. So it's kind of, so you can kind of go anywhere on this piece of sheet. I'm going to just stick that one there upside down. You take your pick tool when you're doing these letters, is very handy. There we go. Little sucker, they're so sticky. I can't get it to get off. Right, I've got some bits in my hand of the backings. Right, I'm going to, while this one's stuck to that piece there, I'm just going to kind of lay these out. Let's get that bit out of the middle there. Just so you can go anywhere on this sheet, and this is carefully sized. So you have a little border above and below. So I'm now going to kind of do the word back to front. So just poking that in the foam there with the pokey edge and then placing those. So again, poke there and you can peel the back off. So you've got a nice little neat border above and below. You're going to have excess here, which that's fine because we're going to cut that away. I'm just going to poke that in there again and peel the back off. And I'm going to lay that carefully carefully there, just trying to get my spacing quite neat between each letter. And again, so there we have our Mary ready. Hopefully you can see that okay. So again, like we can see that's far too long there. But so let me bring in my dried layer. I need to see, so it's going to go that way. So you can see it's far too long, but it now gives us, if we wanted to offset it, we can. I want it nice and central, so it's going to be there somewhere. But we can then move it wherever we want. So I'm going to now add some dimensionals. Now I'm just looking at sort of where they are, and I'm going to keep the dimensionals central. So just checking there that my dimensionals are going to be in, and I'm going to keep the dimensionals right through the middle, so it allows me to poke my leaves and foliage in underneath the greeting. So just holding that, and then I'm gonna, so I want it center from top to bottom, and I want it center from left to right. Kind of using my grid sheet here to, whoa, that is not, so kind of there somewhere, I think that's pretty good. She says until she turns it up. No, that's good. And then we can just cut the excess off. 1, 2. Okay. So it's starting to come together. Now let me bring my foliage back in that I've die cut ready. So you can start, it's entirely up to you if you want to start laying it out to see. There's really no rhyme or reason. You can go over the edges a little bit, because if I just bring the card base in, you are actually going to be, even if you come slightly over the edge, which I'm actually going to, we can actually go ahead and stick this down now to our whisper white, to our shimmery white layer, because it would then get this out of the way. I'm one of these, I'll do one card one way, and then as I'm going along, I think, oh, actually I could do that now. I don't need to wait. So yeah, go ahead and stick that down. So there we go. So it's just got a very tiny, neat border, but you can see once it adds to the card base, it really does lift. So don't worry if these overhang slightly, because time you then stick it to the card base, it will be fine. So I'm going to add, I'm just literally adding a little bit of dimension here. I'm just poking the stem there behind. Poke. If you go to poke it and you're like, there's a dimensional there, don't worry too much, because you can just trim that stem away a little bit. So I'm going to add a little dimensional behind on this one. I didn't add dimensionals onto all of the foliage. I added it on just on bits. I'm going to place that one in there. That one's going to go here. I'm going to put it from behind. Just tucking it. Just make sure you just lose the stems so they are hidden. I'm going to add a little dimensional onto the back here. And then under there. I think I've got something stuck to, oh, there we go. No, that's fine. And then I'm going to add some berries, which they're going to come into there. I'm going to stick them slightly behind, just again making sure my stems are well in and buried. Then I've got my holly leaves, which I'm going to carefully, they're going to go in and under there, just holding them in just to make sure, yep, that's where I like them, and it is. Excuse my dog barking, if you can hear that. I'm just going to pop that in there, and the other one here. Pop that in there. And then my last lot of berries in between the holly. And I can feel behind there must be a dimensional. So I'm just going to trim that stem off to pop in behind there. Now, while that adhesive is moving, if you wanted to move any bits of foliage, you should have just enough, a little bit of room there just to wiggle that. So I'm just going to bring that bit of foliage out there. They have stuck together for some reason. So there we go, like that. And now we're going to do the same the other side. So coming out from the other way this time. So just pop in a dimensional on there. Pop in a little bit of adhesive here. And that one's going to come out this way. Our big leaf here. There. Oh, Lily lost me berries then. Gonna add a dimensional on the back here, and that is gonna pop under here. So just you losing that stem behind that leaf there. I'm gonna bring one of these, whoops, stick that here, and that's going to come in just under there. Another bit, oh, got a dimensional back there. Them little things get everywhere, don't they? So just popping that in now, that's going to go there. I'm going to add another lot of berries under there. Then we're going to add our holly. So same again as what we did before. So popping that right under there, overlapping a little bit onto those berries. And then a little bit more adhesive here. Pop that under there. If you're worried that they're not sticking, just give it a push down on the letters, though you can't hurt them too much. And then I'm just going to now add my berries with a little bit of adhesive on the back there. Oh, I've got it on my finger. I'm going to pop that in and just sneakily put that between those two pieces of holly there. So there you have all your foliage in place. One thing I thought that would be quite nice on the layer, I didn't do it the first time, but it's what I thought would be quite nice, is you could actually just stamp a little bit on the inside of the cardina. I don't know why I didn't think to do it the first time round. But I thought that would be quite nice. So just to stamp, so that was in Evening Evergreen, a little bit of holly there in Old Olive. I'm going to get the ferny one if I can find it. What have I done with that? Oh, here it is. Do some fern in Mossy Meadow. Just to fill in some of those gaps. There. And then just bring in, I'm going to have some berries in Blackberry Bliss. This would be, for me, this wouldn't be a card that you possibly would want to mass produce, but it would be those ones that you've got, those special cards that you make for family and friends. Now I'm just carefully inking up the berries here, but only inking those top three. And then I'm going to just do that. And I'm going to do it again. So just carefully inking up those 3. And I'm going to just pop some up there. Okay, just to give, like I say, I didn't do it in my original. I'll show you. I left it blank. But I actually thought that how nice would that look. So when we pop that inside, you do need to give it a few more minutes to dry on the shimmery white cardstock. But how nice does that look when you open that up and that's going to be inside? So let's go ahead and let's lay our card. I always lay my card base flat because when I try and stick, this does this and it's just very annoying. Because of the dimension on the card already, I just used my liquid glue round the edge, through the middle, and popped that directly onto the card base there, just lining it up neatly. I've allowed like a, I don't know, 1/2 centimetre, 1/4 of an inch border all the way round. I've just remembered I haven't got my gems ready, so let me bring those in. So I'm using the Elegant Faceted Gems, and I use these whiter ones here. And again, I always use my Take Your Pick tool. And I really, I use quite a few of these actually, but you use as many as you fancy. Just popping them in. I just remembered I haven't added my Christmas greeting, which I need to do. So let's just pop some of these on. Just pop another one of these. Oops, where did that just go? Oh, there. Little sucker. There we go. So my Christmas greeting, I have heat embossed that. So I heat embossed in white the whole of the greeting, but I actually only want the Christmas. So is what I'm going to do using my paper snips is I'm just going to carefully go in and just fussy cut that. Fancy me forgetting my greeting. I thought I was doing so well. Forgive me. So just going to fussy cut that really well. If you don't love fussy cutting, I'm sorry. You don't actually, when I think the reason I forgot this is because I actually, the first time I made the card, I actually didn't add the Christmas. I just had Merry. And then I thought, actually, I think it would look quite nice if it had the Merry and then the Christmas just sits across there. So all I did is I'm going to add a dimensional just behind the C for Christmas. I'm going to add 2 dinky ones there. Just peel off those backs, and then I'm going to just put a little bit of adhesive there, because is what it will do then. Oh, it's stuck to my finger. It's going to just come and sit onto that layer there. Just hold that in place just for a moment. I'm going to add another couple of the faceted gems there. So there is a lot of faceted gems there. You could even use rhinestones. You could use whatever you fancy, really. I like these because it picked up on the white, the sort of the frosted element of the what I was trying to create. Then we're going to just open up our card. So just making sure we've got our card the right way round. Grab our stamped layer. And again, I like to use multi-purpose liquid glue just because I like that it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. So if I'm not quite straight, there we go. It just gives me time to wiggle it, get it into place. There is our card. That's that one, and then there's the original one. So I hope you like, oh, my border's got all wiggly woggly. I hope you like my card and you give it a go. Thank you so much for watching me to the end if you've got here, and I hope you have fun creating and you enjoy the Global Creative Project tutorial bundle this time. Thank you. Bye bye.